We locked him in here. Guard, opposite guard, taking his way. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Hey, welcome to the Stone Show. And I'm your host, Lamonta Stone. And I'm with Vito Chiro from Detroit Sports Podcast.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And we're here to talk a little, first of all, River Rouge basketball because, hey, I am the coach of the River Rouge Varsity Panthers basketball team. And we'll talk a little high school basketball, a little collegiate basketball, and whatever comes up after that point, huh?
Yeah, see where it flows, right? Where it takes us. So
yeah.
We can talk a long time. I know that too. The two of us together, definitely.
So River Rouge basketball is right now we're 7-1, coming off of a couple good, impressive wins. And you saw us play Ypsilanti Lincoln at Eastern Michigan against Amani Bates, and then later on that week we played a really good, tough, hard-nosed Detroit King team. Came out victorious and had one slip up. And believe it or not, that was at home against a really good, talented Grand Rapids Catholic Central team. But since then, we bounced back and won 3-4 in a row to get to a 7-1 record now and ranked number 2 in the Detroit News.
Not too shabby, Coach.
Not too
bad.
But you know, and the viewers know, here at River Rouge, rankings don't mean too much to us, particularly in January. You know, we're all about March, and a state championship talk with us every year, and that's our goal. That's our only goal, is to win the state championship.
Now, with your players, then, how do you get them not to focus on that all the time during the regular season?
Well, during the regular season, we talk about our ultimate goal is to win the state championship, but we need to get better each week, better, each game, and we need to, we talk about it, being like a train leaving the station, it putt-putts and putt-putts and putt-putts, and then all of a sudden you get that momentum, and that momentum carries, that train to the final destination. With us is, we'll start off, like we talked about off the air, I may have 50% of our offense or 50% of our defense in, at this moment in time in, mid-January, but at some point, maybe the first or second week of February, everything we need to win the state championship will be in place, and the guys will kind of get a feel and a great understanding of that offense or that defense. And, but right now, we don't want to be the best team in the state. We don't want to be playing our best basketball in January.
And there's a parallel to college hoops then.
Yes.
You see all these number 1 ranked teams right now, they're all losing anyways.
Yes.
So you want to get tested. You want to rack up the L's right now, in so many words. So as much as you want to go undefeated, you don't want to lose to anybody, and your players don't want to lose to anybody, right?
Right.
It's all right to lose right now.
It's okay to lose.
Yeah.
It's okay to lose. And I tell our guys, at River Rouge, we won 14 state championships, and neither one of those teams were undefeated. Including my 98, 99 teams that were ranked in the country. We were ranked both of those years. In 1 year, in the 98 team, we lost 1 game. 98, we lost twice. So, it's okay to lose. It's just when you lose, and make sure you're learning in the process.
So 1 slip-up this year.
Yes.
How did you allow that to happen now, Coach? Does it actually eat at you when you lose, even though we just talked about how it's more about the state playoffs than it is that at River Rouge, with the tradition and success? But still a loss like that one against Grand Rapids CC.
You know what? I didn't like the fact that we lost, but the saving grace was I didn't think the team was better than us, and I know why we lost. We lost because we missed 4 out of 8 free throws down the stretch. So it's a situation where we gave them that game because we didn't do the things that we needed to win that game. And you can't. We're up 4 with just over a minute and a half to go, and you can't go 4 for 8 from the free throw line in the last minute and a half. So that was the saving grace and the loss there. It wasn't that Grand Rapids CC out-executed us, or they took us out of some things that we need to do. It's just a matter of fact that we didn't make free throws.
How was
That's
practice?
correctable.
How was practice the next day then? Was it a lot about free throws then?
You know what? I'm tough on them in practice as it is. So, that day it was about free throws, but it was also about toughness. Because, I don't think, the one thing that, it's okay for us not to have, have our defense or have our offensive philosophy in at this point, but the toughness should never waver. So I didn't think we were playing as tough as we need to be, during that stretch. Even though we beat a tough King and a tough Ypsilanti team, I thought we needed to be even tougher mentality more so than just how we played. So those practices leading up to the next game were all about toughness and drills set up to get the toughness out of the guys.
And to piggyback off of that then, I mean, mental toughness is such a crucial component of being an athlete, right? Of
Yes.
being an excellent and outstanding one, because I think it's the difference between a guy that's just average, a
Yes.
mediocre ball player,
Yes.
whatever sport he's playing, and then a guy that is more of a high-end dude in the all-star caliber level player.
Yeah, and you're actually right. And just like we talked about with the free throw, that's all mental. Because it was my point guard, Imani Weston. He's a decent free throw shooter. So at that point, just go out there and block out, the score, block out the crowd, block out anything that's going on, and just go out there and make the free throws, just like you do in practice.
And it should be that easy,
should
but
be
it's
that
not
easy.
always that easy. Some guys make it look easier than others too.
I guess you're talking to a guy that was in 44 years probably one of Lofton Green's best free throw shooters. So, I think it's easy, and I think it should be easy for everyone else, but that's just me.
Right? And I wish it was easier for me too at times when I'm shooting free throws. A lot of guys, I feel that way. And you see these guys at the next level, Coach, that struggle too doing it, and they're NBA players, and they're big men more often than not.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, where did you not learn this? And you should have. And why didn't it click?
Yeah.
Do you think there's something that just causes some guys not to be able to grasp it? Is it really that tough, you think, too?
No, I think free throws is like, we talked about it being the mental, but it's also just how much time are you putting in, shooting free throws. In today's day and age, everyone's running to the three-point line, from my 10-year-old son to Steph Curry. So everyone wants to shoot a three. So how much time are you actually putting in making free throws? How much time are you, if you're at a practice for 2 hours, how much time are you at that free throw line? And I think that's a lost art.
And really, you have to find that balance in between shooting the three-point ball. I mean, like you talked about with Legend. Legend Jeter was on with my podcast with you, Coach. And we were talking about how he has to develop that even more and being a shot maker. But that he can do that.
Yeah.
And that it's such an important element as he gets to the next level and as anybody gets to the next level, starting with collegiate basketball.
Yeah.
So can you reflect upon
Yeah,
that, too?
and it's funny you talk about that, because you can see a kid, and I see it all the time, knock down three after three after three, but can't make a free throw.
And it's a shorter shot.
It's
Shorter
a
distance.
shorter
They
shot.
can't make that
no
shot,
one's
though.
guard. This is what I tell my guys all the time in practice. I say that's the same shot that you're shooting at 10 years old, that you're shooting at 15, 16, 17-year-old. No one's guarding you. The difference hasn't changed. Why you can't make that shot? It's a matter of you, the mental side of it, and not practicing that shot enough. Because really it's a routine. It should be the same routine every
Now,
time you step to the free throw line.
When you're at Rouge, though, the target's on your back a little bit more often. So there's more to it, more to the equation, right?
Sure.
When you're trying to win on a game-to-game basis.
Sure, but that's why you come to River Rouge.
There we
you
go.
come to River
Winning
Rouge
difference,
because
right?
Exactly. You want that moment. You relish that moment. You dreamed of that moment. And you dreamed of being on the free throw line. You're wearing a River Rouge jersey and you're playing Ipsy Lincoln at Eastern Michigan in front of 5,000 people. That's why you come to River Rouge to play basketball.
How did you make that game happen then, Coach? To get it at EMU in front of that huge crowd with all those coaches there, former players, Jalen Rose, as you said off air, was there, and to have all those guys there and make that happen, what went into that?
First of all, I think it's a testament to high school basketball in the state of Michigan, and I think we're on the upswing. But I think what happened, to answer your question, Ypsilanti Lincoln won the state championship in Division I. And we were number one team for the majority of the state last season, but we wind up getting to the state championship game in Division II. Now, we lost that game, but I think everyone looked at that as, hey, those were two of the best teams last season. And with Amani Bates coming back, Lincoln will probably be, if not, as good, but maybe better than they were last year. And everyone knows, River Rouge is just, this next man up, regardless of the talent level. So I think, what happened was everyone, I think people in the state got smart and say, hey, let's put this matchup together. Let's put it in the gym where, everyone can see it. There's no one going to be standing outside, because they didn't get there early enough. And like I said, I think it's great for high school basketball. It's in the state of Michigan. It's great for our region. And, I think we put on a pretty good game that night.
Pretty good show. You won that game, too.
We
and then
won that game.
Right after the football team wins its state title, and then you come out, you win that game at EMU in front of that raucous crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about on my podcast, too, Coach, I mean, the crowd there was bigger than for a regular EMU hoops game, too, as you know.
As I know, because I coached
and you
that.
coached as an assistant, too, so you really do know.
Yeah, and I tell you, it was probably 5,000 people there that night. I was at Eastern Michigan the 2 years in the early 2000s. Our biggest crowd was probably about 3,000 people, if that. So, so I hadn't seen Eastern Michigan with that many folks in the stands to watch a basketball game. But, it was like I said, it was great for the community, for the Ypsilanti and River Rouge communities, but way bigger picture than just our communities. It's great for high school basketball in the state of Michigan.
And everybody, wants to talk about Amani Bates from that game. But how about Legend Jeter, too? I mean, Legend had a heck of a game, and more and more attention has been brought to him as well as the season, I know, has progressed.
Yeah, I thought Legend played so-so first half. Thought he could have been better the first half. But a lot of that, I think, was how we played him in the first half. And I had to make an adjustment as a coach. In the second half, first half we put him right at the basket and tried to go to him on the post and just post him up. And second half we made an adjustment and put the ball in his hands on the perimeter, put it in his hands at the elbow, and allowed him to make the play for himself. And I think it opened him up and made him a tougher guard for Lincoln. And he had a really good second half. Best player on the floor in the second half.
So what does he bring to the table, Legend?
Mm-hmm. Legend's a kid that he's 6'8", he's skilled. For a kid that's 6'8", he shoots it just as good as my 5'8" guards. And like we talked about earlier, I could put the ball in his hands on the perimeter, and he could get to his spots off the dribble, off the bounce. And I think that makes him a tough guard. And I think the college coaches are taking notice. Legend probably one of the highest recruits in the state of Michigan right now. Since our season started, probably had at least 7 or 8 scholarship offers. We've had, probably at every game 2 or 3 collegiate coaches specifically there to see Legend. So, he's having a heck of a start to his junior year.
So where is he at then in his recruiting process?
He's got like I say, he has 7 or 8 offers. Mainly those offers are mid-major offers. And I'll take a step back. I think Legend's probably 6 months behind in his recruiting process. He had an injury this summer that kind of slowed the recruiting process down. So the offers he's getting right now are mid-major offers that he probably would have got this summer if he wasn't injured. And then from what happens in the recruiting process, once the mid-majors start offering, then the big boys start to come in place, and they start evaluating and, setting up, their recruiting board and say, hey, Legend, the kid we want to offer, or do we have this position already filled for the next couple of years? So so he has his mid-major offers, and like, for example, Nebraska was in here watching us practice today. He's been up to Michigan for a couple games. Went up to Michigan for a football game. So they're doing their due diligence. So I just think it's a matter of just getting through the season, having a really good season, and keeping, what he's doing now, just maintaining that play. And, the big boys, I think, will offer come, if not later on this season, high school season, come spring and summer. And when I say big boys, talking Power 5 conference schools.
And he looks good wearing maroon. You do too. I mean, look at all this. Down in the maroon color. And it makes me think of the maroon jacket that you guys wear.
Yes.
To the games, before the games. How about the tradition behind that, which you reflected upon with me off the air as well? Can you talk to our viewers about that too?
So at River Rouge, if you see us play, our guys walking to the gym or the arena wearing our maroon blazers with a tie and khaki pants and some loafers. And that tradition started way back in 1996, 97. And what we were doing back then, the program had really started to take off, and we started beating the parochial schools such as Country Day and Orchard Lake St. Mary's. And one given evening after a victory, one of the schools, I'm not going to say a name, but one of the schools, the student body started chanting, "That's okay, that's all right, you're going to work for us one day." And it struck a chord in me that, hey, it's not good enough, us beating the Country Days and Orchard Lakes on the basketball court. We got to prepare these kids to beat them in life as well. These are the same kids you're going to compete with, at the collegiate level, academically, socially. You're going to compete with them after you get your collegiate degree for jobs. You're going to be in interviews with them. So, it changed my whole mindset of, what a River Rouge student athlete needs to look like. And not just at that moment, what he needs to look like 10 years after he graduates from River Rouge. And, not just, playing the part, but we got to look the part. We got to act the part. We got to project the part. And that's what, that blazer represents.
And how about emphasizing that then at Rouge with your student athletes to really get that point across at River Rouge?
Let's use Legend. We talked about Legend, Let's use Legend, for example. Legend is a really good student, has over a 3-point GPA. But 2 high academic universities called within the last week, asking about Legend, one being Northwestern and the other being Princeton. And I asked the coach at Northwestern, hey, what are your academic standards? What does Legend need to get, into your university as a student athlete? And it was a 3.2 with a 19 ACT score, which he's close to that. But then Princeton called a day or two later, and I didn't even ask him what their criteria was, but I know it's Ivy League school. And so it made me think about, I'm a challenge Legend. Yeah, you're a pretty good academic student and you do well, but let's not limit ourselves. If you can go to an Ivy League school as a student athlete and, whatever GPA they need, let's challenge ourselves. Let's get that GPA. And, that's I coach basketball, and basketball is what we do, but it's so much deeper. My thing is I want these kids to use basketball to better their lives, to use basketball to raise a family, and the things that the things that basketball has taught you throughout your early years are going to be the same things that you're going to teach your children as they grow through life, and and hopefully the lesson that they're learning resonates in their mind and in their head, and they become better, not basketball players, but they become better people because of it.
And really what they're going through at Rouge then, it serves as a vehicle for them getting a scholarship at the next level, right? A college scholarship, bettering themselves on and off the floor, because as you know yourself, Coach, a lot of these guys will never play beyond college.
Exactly.
So it's important to instill in their heads right now while they're young that, hey, there's more to life than just basketball.
Yep. And you know what? We talk about this, and it brings to my mind that on this year's team, we have 2 student athletes that I coached their dad.
Does it make you feel old then too?
It makes me feel old.
Maybe a little bit?
But it also lets me know that I did something right. Whatever it was, those dads appreciate me. enough, or the things that I instilled in them as young men, they want me to instill that in their children as well. So it makes me, feel good that makes me feel old.
Just a little bit too, I bet.
But it also makes me feel good that, that those guys want me to coach their son.
So now, what is one thing about you that you would like people to know about? Well, we're talking to them right now. It's your show. I don't want to steal the spotlight from you. I want it on you, reflected upon you. But yeah, what is one thing about you and your coaching style that you would like the viewers to know about?
I'm a hard-nosed guy. I take that back. I got a hard-nosed coaching style. I'm a lovable guy.
Off the court. You're
Off
fine.
the court, yeah.
It's good to do. But, yeah.
But no, my coaching style is locally probably more closer to Tom Izzo. We get after it. We get after it in practice. I get after our guys, and my guys don't have a problem with it. My parents don't have a problem with it. And you know why? Because they understand that it's out of love. It's out of me pushing their children, their boys, to be the best boys that they could be, so they could be the best young men that they could be. And I think, they understand that. So, I try to let up. I'm getting old. I can't yell and scream and shout as much as I could.
Takes more energy out of you,
takes
too,
more
when you do
energy.
it?
But my parents say, you better not let up on my son.
Because they know they hate. We had to deal with it.
Yeah.
Better do it to him, too.
Yeah,
but
so
it's a good thing.
No, it
you know
is,
what?
it
In
is,
college,
it
with
is,
Tom
it is.
Izzo, like you brought up Tom Izzo,
Yeah.
and a lot of these coaches, they don't sugarcoat things
No,
and
no.
pat you on the back and say,
no,
good job,
no,
buddy. I mean,
no.
it's not easy going through all of that. It's very tough in what they have to deal with.
No, the best and the best doesn't. I'll give you an example. Rarely do you see Tom Izzo or Coach K or Bob Huggins practice, or how they deal with the guys outside of game day. But if you went to one of those guys' practices, you'd probably say, "Wow, I don't know if my son could play for that coach, or I don't know if my son could take that." But I ask my kids every day, if Tom Izzo came in here and offered you a scholarship right now, would you take it? And they all go, yeah, heck yeah, coach. All right, are you going to deal with the things that, that's going to make you uncomfortable? Are you going to be able to deal with, a coach that's pushing you to lengths that maybe you don't think you could reach? And that's why I do it, because I want my guys to be able to play at the toughest of programs. And if they're at a program where the coach maybe not as abrasive as me or some of the other guys, then that's okay. But if you get to a program where you got guys like me, you got guys like Coach Izzo and Huggins, and that are going to push you and push you and push you, I want you to be okay in that type of program. I want you to say, oh, Coach Huggins, my coach got on me a lot worse than this. This is a piece of cake, Coach Huggins. I thought you were tough.
And for anybody intense at the next level, you would like that transition to be seamless for your players going to that kind of a coach then. And then you've been there as a college assistant at EMU, Bowling Green, Ohio State, and so you know what it takes for your guys to get to that level and to play effectively and maintain their roster spots, right, as well at the next level.
Yeah, and I try to prepare my kids. Since I've been coaching, one of the joys, and I had many, but one of the joys, I think it would have been the year 2001, Ohio State versus Iowa in the Big Ten Championship Selection Sunday. So they're the last game being played, and everyone in the world is watching, and I got two River Rouge kids on the court going at it. Brent Darby playing for Ohio State, and DeWes Henderson playing for Iowa. I mean, that couldn't make me more prouder as a coach and as a person than see, your two guys. And Brent was a captain at Ohio State. It was his junior year, and DeWes would have been the captain at Iowa his senior year. And, I mean, just to see that, I mean, it was amazing.
And what's the next step with this team right now?
Well,
that you would like to see them take, and for them, I mean, not only to reach the state finals, but also to get to the next level, to play collegiately. So I guess it's a two-part question, kind of.
This team here, we're playing well right now, but we need to get better. Toughness is always going to be an issue with me because I just pride our program on toughness, on being the toughest, team on the court. Individually being the toughest player on the court. So we're going to always work on the toughness aspect of our program. And then there are some things that we need to do offensively and defensively to get better to win the state championship. Right now, even though I said we're playing well, we need to play better to win the state championship. I don't think we're there as a team right now, but we'll get there. There's no doubt in my mind we'll get there. And individually, we probably need to keep working on developing our guard play. This Lincoln game, I thought our guards played exceptional. And a couple games since they've been up and down, but we gotta get a steady handle on our guard play. And I think we for the most part we played 4 guards and then we rotate them in, and I think all 4 of them are pretty good. Just getting them playing more consistently, which it'll happen.
And based off of what you just said, I mean, how close is this team to winning a state title, though? Because you made it sound like they're still going through stuff. It's still relatively early in the season, let's say, right? But how close right now are they to winning and being able to win a state championship?
I think we have a team that's capable of winning. We have individuals that I think that are capable of carrying us through a state championship run. So it's just a matter of, putting all the pieces together for the next couple months and bringing it all together. I'm a psychology major, so a lot of things and a lot of my philosophy is based on, my psychology background. So it's just a matter of just, when I say bringing it together, we dress 14 guys for the most part, and just bringing all 14 of them together for the one cause, and that one cause is winning the state championship.
And to play and win as a team. And easier said than done, I bet, too.
Yeah, but if you're going to play for me, you're going to play for River Rouge High School basketball under Coach Stone's regime, you're going to play as a team. You're going to play unselfish. You're going to do things that are, when someone come and watch River Rouge basketball team play, my biggest compliment would be, you guys, whether we won or lost the game, you guys played the right way.
So from a psychological perspective then, how do you keep all the egos in check? How do you make sure everybody's checking their ego at the door? Because year to year, you typically have a lot of talent. And not just one guy, but a full team of players that are capable of starting at many other schools too, right? But they come to Rouge and accept the fact that they have to sacrifice a little bit and might not get as much PT. So to get your players to buy into that, to the culture and into the program,
Well, I have examples.
Get them to do that?
I have examples.
Yeah.
For example, this year's team, I can look at last year's team. We had a kid named Nigel Koval. Nigel averaged 14 points a game, was first team All-State on everyone's ballot. So, I tell everyone, Nigel didn't average 25 points or 30 points a game. Nigel averaged 14 points a game, but he was All-State because he was on a winning team. He was from a winning program. And playing for a winning team and winning program brings the notoriety. And I don't think Nigel was our leading scorer. If he was, it may have been another guy averaged 13 or 12. But, I tell them, you don't have to score 20, 25, 30 points a game to get noticed if you're on a winning team or from a winning program. And that's what we preach. It's all about team. It's all about our goal. We don't have individual goals. Our goal, the ultimate goal that we always talk about is state championship. That's a team goal. We don't talk about, breaking records for 3-point shots or being the number 1 assist leader or, all our goals and our tangible things that we talk about daily are team oriented.
So now the three-point shooting, kind of reflecting upon that a little bit, because I heard you mention that.
Yeah.
How has that changed the game, the landscape of the game as a whole?
Man, I got a 10-year-old son, and as soon as he stepped in the gym, he's shooting 3-pointers.
And from way back, probably like Steph Curry, and everybody wants to be the next step,
NBA
right?
3-point shots.
Yeah.
So, the game changes. It changes decade, after decade, and just we're in a decade where everyone's shooting 3-pointers right now. I went to see Michigan play the other day, and just talking about Big Teskey. Teskey's I think he's 7 feet tall, and he shoots more 3-pointers than Xavier Simpson, their point guard, and that's just the way the game is. And with our guys, particularly Legend, who will play collegiate basketball at someone's university, being 6'8", I tell him, you got to be able to make jump shots, and we really improved his perimeter game where. He's a threat on the perimeter. He's a threat to make high school 3-point shots. And I think that's really expanded his game. It's helped us as a team, helped us as a program, and it's helped him in his recruiting process.
So it's your show, but is it time to talk some college hoops now?
It's time to talk some college
Michigan State.
hoops.
How about those two squads right now, Coach, and evaluate them for me and what they bring to the table?
Before we evaluate it, this is my ultimate dream. Being from Michigan, even though I worked at Ohio State, I've been born and raised and spent, all but, the majority of my life here in Michigan. Ultimate dream. Michigan and Michigan State in the Final Four playing for the championship in Atlanta, Georgia this year.
That'd be beautiful.
That
How do
would
we
be
make
great.
it happen? Are those teams good enough to make that kind of a run? I tend to doubt, no offense to Michigan fans out there, but I tend to doubt Michigan right now. And a first-year head coach who's a good coach, though, you've told me that yourself, and you can talk about him in depth, Juwan Howard, who you know a lot more on a personal level, too. But I tend to think Michigan might falter before MSU this year, even though MSU has had their hiccups already this season, including against Purdue the other night, when they got blown out and nobody really saw that coming. But I'll let you talk now here.
Talk about Michigan first. I've been to a number of practices. I've been to a number of games. I got to know, with Juwan taking the job, we had friends, mutual friends, and now he's here in Michigan, and we become a lot closer. So I go to his practices, and I know him as a person, really don't know him as a coach, and I'm sitting there and I'm just amazed, and I'm amazed because he's a teacher, and I didn't look at him as a teacher of the game. It's just, it's like he's a math teacher. He's an English teacher, and he's in his element teaching basketball. And it blew me away. And then when you watch him play, you see all the things that, like I use an example with my guys. It's like, Sunday, Monday practice are quizzes for the game on Tuesday, which is the test. And you watch Michigan, and I may go to practice here and there, and then I see the game, and I'm like, wow, the things that he's trying to get across, you see being displayed in the game. So I think he's doing a heck of a job. First year on the job, he's playing with a lot of B-line recruits, and and that's probably one of the toughest things as a coach, to coach and play kids that you probably didn't recruit, and they may not fit your style of coaching or your philosophy, but you got to make it fit. And I think he's doing a heck of a job with that this year. And
it seems like those guys have bought into his kind of way of playing basketball too, which I know is going to be similar and is similar to the past head coach, John Beeline, and what he instituted. Because he brought a great program in with what he coached at U of M. And those guys, like you said, are carryovers right now from Beeline, David DeJulius, and others. And they're playing according to the way that Juwan Howard wants them to play now. So I would say, and credit Howard with that those guys have really bought in to Juwan Howard, which is impressive for Juwan.
And it helps that, you're being coached by, first of all, a Fab Five member.
Which is cool in itself. That is cool on the surface, right?
And then also a guy that's, I don't know how many years Juwan played in the league.
I think like 18 years. He won a championship there with the Heat at the very end, too,
And then he coached. It wasn't like a guy that once he got done playing, he went off and, did some other things. No, he started coaching right away. 1 year he's playing, next year he's coaching. So, to get coached at that level, because most of those guys aspire to be NBA guys. So you're being coached by a guy that didn't read the book. You know, he wrote the book.
And now you told me this before too, that you don't think Juwan Howard will last in Ann Arbor or at the
I mean,
collegiate level. He's too good, you think, for that almost?
I think what's going to happen is going to be, you know, no time soon. I think at some point, you know, the NBA, because he's really respected at the NBA level. He was interviewing for NBA jobs, you know, at the same time that Michigan calls him. So I think it's gonna become a point in his career where there's gonna be a number of NBA GMs and owners reach out to him and engage him and, you know, throw some offers at him that he's gonna have to really, really think about. And you know, that'll be his decision at that point. You know, do I stay at the collegiate level and, you know, see this thing through, or do I jump back in the NBA? And, you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens at that point. But I'm a visionary. I'm a visionary. Yeah, the crystal ball says, you know, at some point he's going to have to make that decision.
And then money talks, right? And there's big dollar signs in the NBA to make,
Yep.
such as John Beilein,
Yep.
taking that leap of
Yep.
faith to take over an NBA job for the first time. And so far, the results aren't the most positives.
Yeah.
So there is that to stay leery of when you're making that transition to the NBA. The example of Beilein, who's
Yep.
only in year number one,
Yep.
but the players already have come out and have tried to get rid of him, maybe. I mean, you've heard the boo birds and the
Yep.
naysayers about
Yep.
him, and from inside his own locker room.
Yeah.
So there's that factor as well, where Juwan's at his alma mater.
Yep.
To stay there almost for life, as long
Yep.
as you don't fail,
Yep.
right? I mean, like Jim Harbaugh. I look at him too. I mean, how long of a leash does he get to being at his former school?
It's funny we're talking about this, so is resonating in my head as we talk about it. That's Tom Izzo.
Right?
You know, Tom Izzo
Staying all these years, but he's had the flirtations.
He
right,
had the
with NBA.
flirtations.
Yeah.
He's had offers where he had to make a decision. Okay, do I stay at Michigan State and ride this thing through, or do I jump to, I think, Cleveland Cavaliers?
I'd say it was the Cavs too.
Yeah,
Big money.
Atlanta came at
Yeah,
him. So
yeah.
he made the decision to stay at Michigan State. I think at some point, Juwan Howard's going to have to make a decision
Yeah.
to either stay at Michigan or jump to the NBA. The same decision Coach Izzo made.
And now I think Howard's a different story because he played in the NBA.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think
yeah,
he has more
yeah.
ties to it because
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
Long careers we talked about. So I could see him making the jump
Yeah.
and maybe even doing it more easily and lasting than Izzo,
Yeah.
because Izzo never played like
Yeah.
that, never played
Yeah.
at that high of a level.
Yeah.
So I guess it's different. But still, I would look at Izzo and Coach K and others that have flirted with the NBA
Yeah.
and haven't taken those offers,
Yeah.
and look at how it's paid huge dividends for them by
Was it-
staying in
exactly,
college.
yeah.
I mean, look at their names and they're icons of the sport at that level now. Or if they went to the NBA, you know, I remember actually with Izzo, and you brought up the Cavs. He was going to go there, and then LeBron, by the way, left that same summer.
Yeah.
They thought that maybe LeBron would stay by hiring Izzo. Well,
Right.
LeBron wasn't staying
No,
anyways. He was
no,
joining
no.
the Heat.
Yep.
So Izzo would have gone there and would have lost all those games, would have never lasted more than likely in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So he made the right decision,
Yeah.
staying at State, making Final Fours, and you would think he's going to win another national title
Yeah.
before he hangs it
You
up.
think
too.
at some point, yeah. And
You
this
know?
may be the year. You know, we're talking about Michigan State
Right?
in the
How good is
in the
State coach,
championship
too?
game. No, I like chance. I like State chances this year, and the number one reason, Cassius Winston. I mean, I think to win at that level, you have to have not good guard play, you have to have great guard play. And I think right now he's probably playing better than any guard in the nation. I mean, he's really good, and he does it with a mix of scoring as well as facilitating. He's an extension of Coach Izzo, and I think when you talk about winning a national championship, you have to start there. It's tough.
It's hard not
tough.
to say if they can make the run, right, based
right.
on Cassius.
Right.
And how they're playing,
Yep.
outside of that hiccup against Purdue. That was ugly, but that's one game.
Yeah,
too.
that's life in the Big Ten, playing on the road. I've been there. I've done that. I remember the year I was at Ohio State. We lost to Penn State, and everyone was beating Penn State when I was in the Big Ten. We go into Happy Valley, and the place is half full. It's a dreadful night, and you just want to play this game and get out of there, and we wind up losing. And, I mean, that was one of the – as far as collegiately, that was probably one of the worst games that, I'd ever been involved in, losing to Penn State during that time. That's not supposed to happen.
And it looks bad when it does,
Yes.
like it did there. Like you
Yeah.
said, a half-empty Happy Valley you go into,
Yeah.
right? Nobody
Yeah.
even cares about hoops
No,
there.
no.
And it's still like that. It's not
Not as
now.
bad, yeah,
Now they're more
yeah,
competitive, which is good
yeah,
to see because you
yeah.
want to see that for the strength of the Big Ten as a whole.
Exactly.
It's like Rutgers.
Yeah.
Rutgers is better now too, which is good to see.
Yep.
Football, not so much.
Right.
But basketball, they got something they're building.
Yep.
It looks like.
Yep.
So
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. What are you asking me? What's your take? What do you
on the
think?
Big Ten right now,
On the Big Ten.
Michigan State, I like State more.
You like
because
State?
of Cassius too. He's
Okay.
the straw that stirs that
Okay.
drink. And it seems like the state hoops teams, when they're the best and make their runs,
Yeah.
they need somebody who's that strong veteran leader.
Yeah.
He's a veteran now,
Yep.
and to be an extension of Tom Izzo. I think when you have that kind of player like they had with Draymond Green, played a different position obviously than Cassius,
Yep.
but I think to have an extension of him and to run the point,
Mm-hmm.
my God, perfect world because the point
Yeah.
is really the
Yep.
extension anyways, right,
Yep.
of the coach too.
Give me a surprise team in the Big Ten.
Surprise team. I like Rutgers. I think
Okay.
based on like surprising factor, that's a surprise right there based on how they've played so far this
Yeah.
year.
What about
So,
Purdue?
Purdue is good. My
Yeah.
God, I mean, to beat State like that,
Yeah.
Purdue's got it going on as well. And the Big Ten, is it deeper, Coach, than we've seen in recent memory?
I think the Big Ten is tough. I mean, I think the winner of the Big Ten conference this year may have, as many as 5 losses. Michigan State, I think, is sitting up top right now with 1 loss. But I could see them,
OSU, I mean, OSU is a good team.
OSU is a good team, and I think they only got 1 Big Ten victory right now. No, the Big Ten is tough, and it's sad, because everyone's playing for a postseason positioning, but you're beating up on each other, and it's going to be some team like Ohio State. At one point, I think we're number 1 team in the country.
So many different number ones,
Yeah.
right? And we talked about that
Yeah.
before too.
Well, how about them being the number 1 team in the country? And based on where they are right now, I think they're 1-3 or maybe something like that in the Big Ten. It's a chance that they may not even make the NCAA
Right,
tournament.
from number 1 to that because
Yeah.
of how strong the Big Ten is.
Exactly.
It speaks volumes about
Yeah.
how strong
Yeah.
the Big Ten is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, you're exactly right.
Yeah, but anyways, Coach Stone, what's next? I mean, how about final thoughts? Final thoughts from Coach
Yeah.
Stone.
I mean,
what do you like
this
to talk
is
about?
This is time of the year where I just love. I love collegiate basketball. I love high school basketball, and now you're getting to the point where everyone is starting to maybe start to play their best basketball in the next week or two to start getting themselves ready for collegiately a tournament. First of all, getting into a postseason tournament, then making a tournament run. The same thing in high school. Start setting yourself up to, be, one of the better. I don't care if you're Division 1, 2, 3, or 4 teams in the state, and getting yourself ready to make a postseason run. I mean, this is exciting time for me. This is time where you get little to no sleep.
I bet. It's all basketball all the
It's all
time, right? There's
basketball.
nothing else you're doing, really.
Yeah, the wife kind of understands,
Uh-huh.
and the kids understand that, hey, we'll get that back sometime in March.
And balancing, though, that home life with that,
Yeah.
and really there's no balance, so, right?
It's
I mean,
tough.
as much as you try to
I'll
do
give you
so.
my Tuesday. So Tuesday we had a home game. My middle son played his first home middle school game. And I didn't see the first game because we were playing. So I told myself I have to see his home opener in middle school. So they played at 4:30. So I get off work at 3:15ish, 3:30. I go check on the guys at the high school because it's game day. I want to make sure they, everything's good there. I rush out to my son's middle school game. Watch that. He started about 4:45. About 5:30 is over. A little after 5:30, I rush back to River Rouge, get back to the school about 6 o'clock, and get myself mentally and prepared in the mindset to coach a game. And we win a good day. But how about that for a Tuesday?
That's crazy to do all that in one day, and you want to
Yeah.
see your son,
Yeah.
but then you want to see your team winning. You have to be
Yeah.
there for the team as
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah.
before the
Yeah.
game starts, not like you just arrive right come
Yeah.
game time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got that factor as well, and so many
Yeah.
different variables in your life to control at the
Yeah.
same time, I
Yeah.
guess.
And you got a wife that you've been married to for 22, 23 years that you gotta.
But she
make
knows
sure
your
that-
ways, right?
Yeah,
She know how to satisfy this and that, right?
But still,
So-
that's wife. Wife gotta get her attention, right?
Right? And a happy wife,
That's
happy life.
That's hey.
Right? I don't
Yeah,
know from
exactly.
experience, but I
No,
hear it.
no,
And from this guy, I can
no,
tell you
yeah.
believe that
Oh yeah,
yourself
most
too.
definitely. Yep. But no, it's been a pleasure.
It's been fun.
It's been great, and I enjoy our company whenever we're
Yes.
together, and I really enjoy you being our first guest.
Thank you.
On the Stone Show podcast.
I loved it. It's a
that?
great show too.
Right.
Very catchy.
No,
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
talking
you.
to you.
All right. Yep. See you guys next week.
Adios.